love to say, it's a modded live. I haven't made it to the real YouTube live. Uh, if you're unfamiliar, I'm a channel that basically does analytics and grades cards. For me, the hunt is probably all about grading. Like I grew up with Pokemon, being in the '90s kid, but grading was like it's like a fantasy you heard about solid rated card when I was a kid, except for like when I finally got online and came across them, and I didn't really understand the process. So welcome. Before we get started, we just dropped a YouTube short. We need help. We found a giveaway, um, and it's going to be simple. Whoever in the comment section of that video can help identify what this card would be labeled as with a PSA label. We're gonna do we'll give away something. It could be from we got a whole selection of giveaway cards, and we'll let that winner select, and then we'll mail it to them. It will just be standard envelope mail, unless the winner really wants to pay for shipping and handling to really make sure it gets to them. As far as I'm aware of, years ago, we never had any issues with our envelope mail. Envelope mail will still send it via top loader, but it is still, there's no tracking number, there's no insurance. But I guarantee you, all of our giveaways are real. So the first one on that video, don't do it here. Go to our short because that's where the giveaway is. Comment on that video to identify the set that this psychic energy belongs to. It is from a 2009 set, and it is a Japanese card. But we believe, or really just me, I say we all the time, but I believe this will PSA 10, but I need to know what to label it as. And I scanned it with the PSA app. I looked it up in the collector app. I don't have the TCG app. That may have probably been finally the solution. So if you got a TCG app, look up, Japanese Psychic 2009 Energy, and go to that short and answer it if you want to win a giveaway. That's pretty much how easy our giveaways are. And then not to disappoint, it's going to be at the bottom of our list. The title of this video, Error Base Set Charizard. There is such thing as Error Charizards in base set, if you didn't know. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and move on just into grading. So, and if you're wondering how I keep track of not doing the same cards over, basic system, I put a V up in the corner of my grading sheet that I produced to let me know that I've already made a video of these cards. So, or coins. So this is a Alakazam coin. My lighting, let me see if I can, does that make it any better? Kind of. Let me see if I tilt this one. I want you guys to be able to see. It's a really great coin. It's a plastic coin. It's not a metal coin. What makes it great, really, to me, is just it's one of the original first sort of cracked ice sort of things. You don't label it as that. You just label it as a coin. It's just plastic on the back. This is Japanese from the Yamabuki City set. I got, I guess, between a 9 to 10. Now, I've never sent a coin in 2 grade, so I'm not certain what would make it a 9. To me, it looked the way. Now, if you were a 7+ year old boy, this was probably one of your favorite cards. I remember kids 10 and up basically having a binder and almost always having this card roughed up condition. It's a Japanese, it's a banned US card. 8. Let me move and get that black background to make it more fair. Usually, the great so we for y'all. So I've already taken a close look at all these cards outside of this. We're getting the obscure view. So I guess 7 to 8. If I had to guess, We'll turn the other light on now because now it seems like we need more light. Probably something to do with centering. But to be honest, I'm not really certain why I said 7 to 8. This is now looking more 9 to 10. I'm trying to get lighting good for you guys. I don't want it to be atrocious. I move the lights back and forth all the time because I'm doing other things in this room. And I really should just get the lighting correct here and do all of my looks at things directly. 7 to 8, and I'm looking over the camera. Top of it. This is kind of really common with the older cards. It's like the print run, like the paper sheet started to like glide, and then also started to. You don't just have like a longer side or a longer top. You've got kind of like this weird kind of like askew corner because you can see it kind of starts at a standard rate here, and you can see the border as it goes down becomes thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner over time, and then kind of same way across the top. And that's where it really shoots you in the foot for centering. They really do take centering. Uh, I mean, as they should if it was like atrocious where the trade are very serious. Going to change it to 8 to 9 to be honest. And you know, play along. We haven't decided any giveaways on this video. As I said, we just dropped that short, so I hope you guys go play. Now I have a standard base set Charizard, keeping things spicy up front, but still, of course, saving the best for last on this video. And, you know, guys or gals, what I always recommend, if you're going to buy cards from anybody, whether you're going to do it in person or not, but if you're going to do it in person, you want those preliminary photos, ask for a black background. I'll do a short on black background for my photos you're requesting. Pretty solid chance. I'm gonna put this down. A bit better. Zoom in. There we go. Put it flat. Super strong chance that they're trying to sell you a card that's some just there's not a lot of photos. Sue the card out of all of its protection sleeves. Centering on front, it's slightly thicker on the left. Top to bottom is even thick, both top to bottom, and I've had in the past where PSA doesn't like that it's thick, even though it's even. I put 7, just straight 7, but to be honest, well, that is a lot of whitening. I think a 7 is being on the dot. I think an 8 is being hopeful. At a 7, I pulled up a declared value of 450, which is pretty decent. I'll take it. Now moving on to the next card. I put 9 to 10. This was actually kind of a hard card to look up. I had to use the PSA scanner. I knew it was Pichu, but Pichu was not pulling this card up. One distinct feature is that ear. So called Spiky Ear Pichu. And there's several of this Pichu, actually. But not a lot of people are picking it up. And for the most part, I would say this card, no matter how you buy it, for the most part, it's usually going to be in mint condition, but just people didn't play it. It came out in 2009, I think, for all of its sets. I think it's a very smart card to grade. You can usually pick it up for $20. I've got mine marked for a 9 to 10. I think it will 10. I think whatever declared value I put down here. I think the $200 declared value, I think, is in the for the nines. I think. It's hard to tell, man. Nines used to almost always be $200. Hold on, I'll take a sip here. But nowadays, it seems like nines have become the new sixes. So we've got just a Raichu GX, SM90. I put a 10. It's good centering. It's not perfect centering. I'm convincing myself here. This is not BGS Black Label card. It's not perfect centering top to bottom. It's not perfect centering left to right. It's good centering. And as far as I saw, when I had this out of all the protection, there was no flaws on it. I mean, there wasn't even scratches on the wax. I don't remember if this one is one of my pack pull cards. It may have been. Sadly, as a PSA 10, this card claims a whopping value of $60. If and when this comes back graded at a 10, this is just one of those cards you don't immediately sell unless you need to pay rent. I don't recommend ever buying any 10, or I don't ever recommend selling any 10 card below $100 if you can help it. That's just how I feel. If it's a 10 energy from the most modern set, don't sell it. Hold it. Just hold it. Don't ever sell any 10 card for less than $100. To that being said, to everyone who's selling 10 cards on eBay for below that, buy them. It's saving you the risk all day long. The cheapest grading fee is like $20 when everything is said and done. Put that into the cost of the card that you're buying. And there are 10s that sell for below $20. You're paying less than the grading fee, and you're getting a 10. I almost strongly stand by any card below a 10, or a card that is 10 that's below $20. It's 100% free money. You just have to wait. We've got base set Venusaur. Arguably not everyone's favorite. I put an 8. I thought Venusaur was awesome. Solar Beam is an amazing attack. The other thing up front with this, I don't remember Blastoise, but I know Charizard, you have to discard your energies. Venusaur, you don't have to discard your energies. In fact, I don't know if you noticed it, most nature cards, you don't have to discard your energies after an attack. It was kind of the theme behind that. So Venusaur was a very heavily slept on card because it didn't have enough damage and it was weak to Charizard and fire. Well, not everyone had Charizard back then. Plus, Charizard was kind of a pain in the butt to get on the field. People will tell you, like when you look up about tournaments and stuff, Charizard was not a very good to play card. So we've got some whitening. That is not on the card. That's spec. Way back to being live. Wow. All right. Phone calls interrupt live. All right. So ignore that spec. The whitening up top here is on the card. Then you got some whitening on the bottom. I put 8. And I just put 8 by itself. I don't think an 8 is being crazy. Sorry, my youngest. Yes, honey. She needs me to open something. Just wait 1 second. All right. No. Come on. She, of course, loves to follow me. What child doesn't love to follow their father around? This next card is being hopeful. I may reconsider grading it. For two reasons. So we've got a Mega Gardevoir EX. I put an 8, and that is part of the reason as to why we might just call it quits on the card. It doesn't, as an 8, the declared value is $40. I think even that being hopeful. So, and I can't remember if I was being hopeful with the grade or not. I'm not seeing anything crazy on the front, so whatever I saw must have been on the back. There's whitening on this corner up here, and then whitening on this corner, and then there's little specks. Little specks. The camera's really not wanting to work with me. Little specks, little boop, boop, boop across the top. If it had been whitening on just one corner, I'd say a 9. But even then, I don't think a 9 really skyrocketed that card. I think an 8 to a 9 moves it from a whopping $45 to a whopping $54. I guess it's something. Oh, and here's another card that. What, honey? Just push from the bottom. Push from the bottom. Just leave it open. I'll deal with it later. Just leave it open. Just leave it open. Gia, just leave it open. Just leave it open. Don't worry about it. Move on. I will close it after this. Leave it open. Okay. This next card, this is what you gotta keep out for. So, this, I have just had to make a note section for my new grading sheets, just to note it down every time I see it. It was hollow. Used to be like a special thing for first original kind of WotC cards, and then a primary sets after that. It was kind of just the normal hollow. You didn't write down Cosmos Hollow as like a separate alternative hollow that was put on by accident. And then it kind of came back. So like this is declared as like a special hollow, like a Cosmos Hollow. Standard hollow, I think, for this card is the horizontal lines across it. Now I just make notes of it on my grading sheets no matter what, so I know to look it up later and confirm. You need paper? Use the heart. There's a heart over here. Use the heart. Use the heart. There we go. You know, build a grading sheet, guys. Have up top. So this just has declared value. My new grading sheets, they've got other notes as the top column label. That's what it's called, other notes. Because I just write down Cosmos every time I see this now. So I always revert and make sure when I'm doing PSA grading that I can find this card, especially if the picture doesn't match. So you can use PSA assisted grading. And if the picture does not match the hollow, then I go onto eBay and further, and I start doing research. And if that still doesn't answer it, I go to forums. And if that doesn't answer it, I come to you guys and I do giveaways for the people who can correctly label my cards. Just that's worth its weight in gold. So I got this card, Flygon Cosmos, 7 to 8. I put down $20. I hope that's on the 7. I hope it's not on the 8. But reasons why I'm getting it graded is I think the card is undervalued raw. I think raw it's like $10. In terms of its condition. Let's see. We got like kind of some dings and nicks on the bottom. You bring me the paper. Bring me the paper. You got some sort of dings and nicks down here. You got some whitening on the corner, some whitening up top. Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you. I'll show you. Then what do you want me to do it with? Yeah, I know. I'll show you. Okay, I'll show you. Do you want to do it or not? Yeah, I know. I know. We have to put the material and look there. See? See? Okay. Oh, you want these out? Okay. Here, grab that one. Grab that one. And then we'll use this to scoop. You just dropped it on the floor. I thought you wanted it. And then here's the other one. Here's the other one. Oh, thank you. Sorry, guys. That's my youngest. She is little. And she's a handful. I put 7 to 8. And I think that's just me being really rough on myself. Oh, there we go. Good bit of whitening right there. So 8 is being hopeful. I think 7 is definitely acceptable. So I think my $20 was on it being 7. With that card being basically, yeah. So if you can't tell, she doesn't have an idea of what a live stream is. And that's fine. Oh, that didn't cut it out, did it? Because it's not the right material. We're just trying to... I don't know what these are called. They're like force press cutters that were meant for paper. We're going to use this one if you want this one. And we're using like a... it's not felt. It's like a semi-rubber material. And it's not quite pressing... It's not quite pressing the things out like it's supposed to, because we're not using paper like we're supposed to. Again, she wasn't up here. She came running up here to the second floor when she heard me start talking. So it is pretty much right now in my life impossible to do any sort of video without these sort of interruptions right now. So hopefully you go back right now and you review what you gave as grades. But talking about that Flygon and the Cosmos, I make that note no matter what, so I know to go look at it. The correct labeling makes a mile of difference in terms of your card. No matter what, whether it's PSA, CGC, or BGS. You want to make sure you get... Oh, that one came through. You want to make sure you get that label that you're paying for. Here. Give me the plastic piece. There we go. You want to make sure you get that label 100% correct. Because that ultimately is going to determine how fast you sell something and what you sell it for. This next card, I was actually super surprised that as an 8, the demand is only $45. So it's a Rayquaza. It is a hollow Rayquaza. I didn't put down Cosmos. I probably should, because again, it's not that Cosmos pattern. It's a hollow Rayquaza from Pop Series 1. I I have this down as a 8, and the declared value for that was $45. I believe I got this in someone's binder. And I put an 8, what looks like mostly for the whitening. I think that will 8. When I wrote it down on the paper, that's simply what I put, was just a solid 8. I would be very happy if it 9'd, and I would be shocked if it 7'd. But as I said, the other shocking thing was the fact that as an 8, Rayquaza Hollow only pulls $45. That is a card. I didn't look at the raw value. It's not always the case, right? Just because something at a certain grade is worth a certain amount. For example, at 8, it's $45, and just because it's $45 at 8, I think it's also raw like $35-40. So it's one of those cards that I would recommend you buy already graded instead of raw. I didn't look at the 10 on it. Of course, obviously, if the 10 is a gigantic jump from the raw, then you start to get your risk to reward. And even then, that's not 100% true. If you don't know, there's a really famous case on Reddit where there was an Umbreon, a Moonbreon, that PSA 8. It came out as a PSA 8. And the person who sent it in said, you know what? I don't believe this was an 8. I've sent in cards before. This shouldn't have been an 8. PSA, you've lost your shot with me. I'm going to try something else. And so he took the card, cracked the case, sent it into BGS. PSA 8 came back a BGS Black Label. Arguably the hardest label you can get. Hey, honey, I've cut out a whole bunch of these for you now. Can I finish making his video? I'm halfway done with my video. I'd like to finish it. I need to finish my video. Yeah, why don't you pick those out when I finish my video? Yeah, take that. Thank you. Flagon, Rayquaza, and Salamence, baby, all from the same kind of time era when they all hit the show. I believe Rayquaza was before the other two. It's been a while. Again, I didn't put Cosmos down. I needed to put Cosmos down. I just put Hollow down for this card. I do believe this Salamence was a special edition. Like, we know it's XY59, and it's funny, the card number doesn't exactly fully identify the full label of the card anymore. You have to do a lot of research, because sometimes they'll use that same card number, and it will have a different hollow pattern. For WotC, that was nice. The card number identified the card. With the new cards, they stopped doing that. Call for goons. Wow, that means something completely different on Reddit. That's funny. For this card, I put an 8. Just solidly put an 8. The centering's pretty good. So it must be something on the back. Again, it got this weird kind of like slant corner where it kind of tapers off, both connecting. It's weird. I've got whitening in this corner. I've got whitening in this corner. And then I've got whitening across the top. As an 8, this pulls $85. That's pretty good. If I get a 9, that'd be awesome. I didn't look up the value. If I had to guess, if it's pulling 85 as an 8, as a 9, it's probably pulling 140, maybe 150 even by the time I get these back. This card was surprising to me, along with the Rayquaza. So this is a Pop Series 1 Blaziken, the original Charizard Kick-Ass Destroyer, another flaming chicken, in a sense. I put hollow. I should have put Cosmos. There's that Cosmos hollow. Pop series are cool cards, in my opinion. They've just got such a low card to go through versus these series that have 200 cards to go through. If you don't include their hollows and reverse hollows and super secret, full art, double dare, hyper rares, truth or dares. So Pop series, there's multiple series of it, but Pop series is a pretty cool set. I put an 8. Nope, that's Blaziken, I put 7 to 8. And I put a declared value of $30. There's not too much to go off on the front. Whitening on this corner. Whitening on this corner. Whitening on all 4 corners. Sadly, I think it will 7. Hopefully, that $30 was my 7. Okay. 7s don't tend to go up in value. They still can. It's just, you really want an 8, 9, and of course, obviously a 10. I am probably willing to hold on to that card, even if it comes back to 7. Because I have had cards come up in value as 7s. Now, specific cards, like I have a Neo Genesis Lugia English that kind of keeps climbing the ranks as a 7. But even that Blaziken Pop series, I think as a 7, will climb the ranks. Now, this next card, I'm kind of just waiting to kind of get rid of it. That's a weird thing to say, and I'll explain that. So this Glycer, I gotta put that Cosmos down. Hollow Glycers, I guess 7 to 8. Declared value $25, and I think actually that value pretty much floats whether it's a 7 or an 8. It just sells faster if it's an 8 at that value. So what do I mean by that? Why did I put 7 to 8? So far front looks good. How bad's the back? Whitening here, whitening there, and some tiny whitening there. It could 8. I don't think it would 9. Again, that spec is not on the card. That's just spec under the top loader. Not going to affect the grade. So what do I mean by I'm going to grade it to get rid of it? I think this card raw sells for like $1. And that's people labeling it as near mint raw on eBay. You're going to have a hard time selling it until it's graded. That's just the fact. That's why people are selling it for $1. This card came out, I don't know, I've written down, it's Legends Awaken. Card came out in 2008. In 3 years, this becomes a 20-year-old card. If I hold on to this card for 3 years, which look at how much space, here's how much space a graded card takes up. If you know, just slightly more than a top-loaded card. If I hold on to this card and it comes back even a 7, in 3 years, it's going to double in value. I am almost willing to bet money on it that this doubles in value. I got a declared value of $25. I'm willing to bet, even as a 7, 3 years, this card doubles in value. Keep that in mind with your cards. It's not always about today. That's one of the things that I like about cards. Now, my cards save a lot of space because of how I've done it. I went and bought binders, and I've been breaking them down over the years. I say years, but I put effort in just over certain periods of time. But cards in general, if you buy just a select few, they take up a whopping whoop-de-doo amount of space. Especially if you buy high-end rated cards, you can put them in a gun safe. I recommend that because gun safes have like heat ratings in terms of fires and floods and stuff like that. That's one of the downsides of physical assets versus digital stock liquid assets is they're very easy to be destroyed, but a physical asset's nice to have because you retain it. You can appreciate a physical asset, and it can appreciate in value. This card will appreciate in value. Even though this Pokemon is kind of meh, this card specifically, with it being a 2008 card and being a holo, and not being a sought after card currently today, when 3 years goes by, this card will double in value as a 7 and or 8. Keep that in mind. It's not always about today. Sadly, this is a non-holo. It's not a reverse holo. It's not anything holo. It is a non-holo. It is a Holon Phantoms Mewtwo Delta species. But even as a non-holo, 7 to 8, it has a declared value of $50. Don't sleep on non-holos, folks. There's plenty of non-holos across the board that get value. I've got whitening, but it's actually really minor. The heaviest whitening being this corner right here. I'll zoom in on it for you. I think it will 8. I think a 7 was being skeptical. I think it will 8. Had that been a reverse holo or holo, oh, that would have been such a better deal. That card I remember I did get out of a binder from somebody. Remember, folks, binder cards rarely will 10. The binder itself does damage to the cards. It's better than just raw cards stacked in a 10, but the binders itself, they do damage to cards. It's just how it works. Besides being already sonically sealed, the best thing you can do for a card is penny sleeve top load. That's my opinion. Yes. Oh, you have to give me something to stamp. Oh, you want these out? Yeah. There you go. There's your stamps. Or your presses, whatever you want to call them. You want to take this? You want to leave it here? Honestly, this is what I'm talking about. It's a little stamp press thing. Here, if you don't, this is what she wants me to. That. It's a little stamp press, and then she keeps asking for the presses out of it. Honestly, I might do some Pokemon cards, just not in front of her, because then she might get a hold of these. So this room, there's no door to it, so that's how she gets up here so easily. So we've got a reverse holo. Oh no, this is a holo. It drives me so nuts. If it had gold writing, it'd be a reverse holo, and it would have a stamp here. They really should. I mean, this to me is reverse holo, and it you know that terminology is swapped around set to set, series to series. They really should just have stamped, and then if they want to have a background to it, but overall it should just be called stamped. It should be reverse holo, and then if they had a pattern in the back without the stamp, holo. But that's me, I'm no expert on it. I've just been doing this for years. So we've got a Dragon Frontiers holo Nidoking. I put 7 to 8. The nice part about that holo feature is the border is holo, which is cool. No issues on the front. I've got a pretty good ding. I mean, it's visible. That is not a dust thing in the way. That is a ding of whitening. Still some whitening pretty much on every corner. I put 7 to 8. That's being really hopeful with the PSA. I think even the PSA puts it on their website for standards that like an 8 to 9 to 10 are nearly indistinguishable to the untrained eye. I would absolutely agree with that statement. You have to remember 8 is near mint to mint, 9 is mint, and 10 is gem mint. So keep that in mind when you see people label things as near mint. Near mint means 7. So consider yourself lucky if you buy a near mint card and it grades higher than 7. And then also, don't take people's words for it. They do a terrible job, whether it's almost intentionally to mislead you or they just have no idea. And actually, more likely, half the time, it's they have no idea. Everyone thinks their cards are near mint, which I guess is somewhat some humility that they're not saying their cards are all gem mint. So we've got a Ho-Oh non-holo, not the New York one. So there's actually a New York one that's really specific, and it'll literally say like New York Center, like right here. And I don't remember because I kind of compiled this pile of cards a while ago, but I think actually it's a bit more money if you have the non-New York Center one. I think, hopefully. But non-holo Ho-Oh from the E-Series Black Promo Star Edition, non-New York Center. I put a 9, and I don't think a 9's being too hopeful. I think for most non-holos, it's not too uncommon to get a 9. So this is where things just become difficult. Like, I see whitening. Like, the issue is you get to a point where you see things that aren't there. And like, I see whitening, but it might just kind of be, again, like how the card binds together. And where I actually see whitening is up top. And again, it's also just mostly how the card binds together. That was just dust on top. But like right here, it's like, it's more so how the card binds. It's not wear on it. I don't really know how to just... Here. Oh, I flipped it over. That's much better. So yeah, there's whitening, and that's definitely going to prevent it from becoming a 10. But you can still have whitening for a 9. And, I mean, use my thumbnail. Look at how magnified we are, right? So keep that in mind. I guess the 9. And for someone who's graded now over 100 plus cards, it's just really hard to not see something that isn't there. It almost makes it, especially as I use a black background, it makes it really hard for me to get my grades right because of how skeptical I am now. I'm hoping after I do these next few card send-ins and reviewing this footage, I can really hone in on what is an 8, 9, or 10. Oh, my youngest needs something again. Okay, I will open you this. She is just really irritable. She didn't have her nap. But she's sort of phasing out of naps at a young age, or she seems like it. Which is semi-nice. If you have kids, you kind of understand. Oh my goodness, that is really closed. Like, all of my kids growing up have had a hard time napping alone. So it eats up a lot of my time when I have to put them to sleep, because then I can't move for that period of... Don't leave this room. She's got chocolate covered nuts. Don't leave this room while you eat. You can eat it, but don't leave this room. You can eat them, but don't leave this room. That's a choking hazard, folks. Okay, so we got Giovanni's Persian and English. Why are you leaving this room? Don't leave this room. Don't leave this room. Gia, stay up here. Stay up here. Stay up here. Stay. Yeah. Give it back. If you aren't going to stay up here, give it back. You have to wait. You have to wait. I'm going to wrap this up as fast as I can. She's not far. Giovanni's Persian Hollow. I put 7. Whitening. That's a pretty heavy corner. Would have been nice as an 8, as a 7, declared value of 45. Japanese Fraligator, Neogenesis, Premium File. I put a 9. I think it was mostly just based on centering. I don't see any whitening. I guess a 9. 10 would be awesome because it's nearly double the value. I have never been able to pronounce this. I have to find someone else who pronounce it. Is the Y silent? A Beltall? I got hollow. I put 8 to 10. Declared value. I put a question mark. It's Radiant Collection, which I think is a slept-on set. Centering looks mostly good. Front, no issues. Centering on the back is a little weird and jaded. And then I've got some corners that kind of have whitening. I think 9 would be fair. 10 would be great. 8 would be PSA pushing too hard. Mewtwo GX. I put 9 to 10. Declared value $100. Centering bottom to top is not good. Left to right, it's close. But that bottom to top is murdering me. This looks like whitening, but I don't think I'd label it as that. Again, it's more like just how the card is kind of folded together, pressed together. That's not on the card, that's just something stuck in between. I put 9 to 10, mostly to the centering. Now what you guys have been waiting for. Sorry, I've had some distractions. So there is the black dot right there. This is a base set Charizard. I put 6 to 7. Declared value $500. There, that is clear as day. The black dot error. Very thick borders all around on this card. Whitening there. Whitening there. Honestly, I'd probably change my guess to a 7 or 8. There's a lot of whitening on that corner, though. That's what it takes to go from an 8 to a 7. I mean, I'd have to pull up some examples of some already graded cards. It is pretty crazy. And then a 7, you can go pretty deep with the whitening until you get into the 6s. And then it takes a lot to go from a 6 to a 5. But those first 3 grades, 10, 9, 8, it doesn't take much to fall from grace on what your grade should be. But once you get into the 7s, then you start getting into a bunch of leeway. Well, I got to go hunt her down just to make sure she is safe. That was 20 cards for talking about grading, what to expect. I did see some people comment while I was doing this live stream on that short, so maybe we have a winner on our giveaway. And congrats to them if that is the case, and we'll get around to that. Thanks. Bye.